So I want to review CGIX, and it's the play that I'm very happy about. I did make a mistake that resulted in a 1R loss, but then I made profits, a 3R gain, so I wiped that out. And risk reward is very important here. It's something I want to explain because I think I can learn from it by talking about it out loud, but I think you might be able to pick up something as well. First off, this is a stock that I was watching all day. I actually borrowed shares right here for 8 cents a share on Cobra Trader and didn't trade it all day, which I'm proud about, because if you look at one of my previous videos, AIHS debacle, where I just destroy myself with it, it's a low float similar to this one. And when I did that, I actually took a loss because I was shorting it, fighting in this kind of a trend. Low flows usually are erratic. They drop, they spike, they drop, they spike, they drop. It's just annoying. So one of my strategies that I went over on micro floats on a video, check that one out. It's just this. This is a micro float short stock. It's 1.3 float. It already ridiculously almost 18 times rotated its float. This is my bread and butter. Especially at the end of the day here, you see that I had this failed spike. What I look for is this calmness right here. It's erratic, and then gets calm. And it accumulates shorts and longs. And so when it had this spike here, and I'm going to zoom in. When it had this spike on good volume, you have people chasing it, but you also have shorts covering. And then when it breaks 7, but just barely, and here's a resistance here, 7, or 690 to be exact. If it breaks 7, I was watching this like a hawk, and I didn't want to short here because I wasn't too sure. You'll see the volume wasn't too much right here on these next two candles. As a matter of fact, it was only one of them was maybe half. And so there's possibility it could consolidate and continue to run, which I've seen that time and time again. But in this case, it actually started to tank. And this volume candle, I thought about adding, but I didn't want to do it again because 625 was a key area that just recently held, and that's where it spiked from. So there's odds that it could spike from that. Granted, hindsight's 2020, but I'm very happy how I traded, especially these first entries. I entered on these first two right here at 603 and 593. I had an average around $6. My ad right here, I wasn't happy about. It was more emotional. I was excited because I know how these can just shit the bed. But I was adding because I told myself if 550 cracks, I need to add. Look at the support right here. And so I did. But the problem is I'm adding after a huge drop. So that's something to keep in mind for myself next time. You'll see I covered that whole position right here on this spike, pretty much the top 619, and it wasn't for any real reason other than the fact that I ended up having a bad average. But once that happened, since it didn't disqualify my play because I didn't have a set risk when I added down here, which is a problem, and it's something I need to address. I had an idea, at first I was thinking 650, but then when I added down here, I was thinking I don't want to hold the 650 because that's going to be a much bigger loss. Because this ad really destroyed my average, which I was not happy about. So when I covered, I immediately reshorted. That's this red candle is. I shorted it because it rejected, but not because I'm revenge trading. It was more so because I'm like, okay, I'm going to short this with my original plan, because it hasn't been disqualified. This is still in my wheelhouse. And so 650 was my risk. And then when I saw that it was failing, holding under VWAP, and we were fading on volume, that's when I got excited and I added to full size. And I was risking pretty much the 620, 625, 630 area, this whole consolidation area. And I was comfortable with that because I thought, you know what? If we're gonna actually hold this area and then reclaim VWAP and go, I'm wrong. I'm just gonna be wrong, and I'll take another loss. But it immediately tanked, and I'm happy because I covered some right here in the low here at 5, And then I'm very happy with the patience I had because I only covered a third right here. And I was patient when it bounced, held this 510, which was really attempting to cover right around here in the 530s, 540s, thinking I missed this cover. But I told myself, we're still trending. It's still setting up correctly for me. All of these people are going to be panicking here soon because now they're all underwater thinking that they had this opportunity and it's no longer here. So when it starts tanking or starts fading again, I was very happy, and I told myself I would cover near the lows again because I'm not going to chance a triple bottom, especially when we only have about 15, well, at this time, like 12 minutes, 13 minutes left in the day. I just wanted to play it safe, and I'm glad I did. So I covered some, and then when it tanked here and started to show some support in the 470s, I covered the rest at 474, which overall, I'm really proud of this trade. I'm proud of it because I didn't let this first loss affect my trade, and I learned a valuable lesson, right? I learned a valuable lesson to not get too excited and over bearish and just short my whole load and wait for that bounce, because this bounce was a perfect area because I wouldn't have covered here at all. I'd have been very comfortable, and then if it would have failed up here like it did and I would have added, I probably would have added it somewhere around here still, and it would have been a great average, and I would have never took a loss. But that's okay. It's a lesson. Hopefully I can pass down to you guys, and I hope it helps. Another stock that I want to talk about that I'm in right now, ignore this trade. It looks like a profitable trade. This first one, it's a short from here to here, from like 1380s to 13. This is a fake trade. This is paper trading only. I was testing out a new order and just it worked, but I wish it was my real trade. Instead, this is my trade, and it looks horrible. This right here, this white triangle, if I cancel it, all it is an open order. It should disappear here soon. So really just concentrate right here. In hindsight, this looks like a shitty trade, but I'm still happy with the trade. The reason for that is because if you look on the big picture, we had a run from $5 or $6 all the way up to 17, a huge panic to 10, and then a bounce to 15 pre-market. And then if you see here, we're just fading. That's all we're doing. Yes, we're consolidating right here, but it built some support, but we also have some pretty good resistance all in this area. And so because of that, and because it has very weak volume compared to yesterday. Look at yesterday. We had 72 million. Today we have 13 million. So that's a dramatic difference. Now, it is concerning that it didn't just, completely fade, especially when I shorted here on this breakdown. You can see I short this breakdown. I thought, okay, we're going to go red and hold it because now we attempted red in the morning, failed, and then now we are going to hold it. But we didn't hold it. But the reason I'm still holding it is because I had a plan overall, and it's still in my plan. So I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll take a loss. But it won't even be a full R loss because of how my risk is and because of where my entry is. At first it was a full R loss, but because of this consolidation, I have a new risk area. I'm risking basically this 1310 area, and so we'll see what happens. But that's today's trades on 11/20, which is, I believe today is Wednesday. So I hope this helps you guys. Be sure to subscribe and check out the podcast. Something I started. I'm just sharing everything as I can because it's something I've wanted to do but been scared to do because, who likes to share their losses? Anyway, thanks guys.